friends, it's Katie Steinberg here, and bringing you this week's message from Missing Peace. We are in our summer of serving, which means we don't gather every week, but when we do it to serve within our community. So that's explanation of sort of the Spartan videos here. But either way, we met last week at Arc of Volusia, who serves developmentally disabled adults in our community and does really wonderful work. And part of that work is some trails that they have available for their clients to walk and a garden. So we cleaned up the garden and the trail, and it was a wonderful experience to be able to participate, and had a couple of their clients come and visit with us too. So it was a great experience. Coming up this week, we had to cancel Bringing Light to the laundromat, unfortunately due to the death of a family member of the owner of the laundromat. So we are going to reschedule that. So keep an eye out for that. But we do have on the 19th, Speak Up for the Poor. We have Troy Anderson coming from Bangladesh, where he helps build learning centers for young girls that gives them the opportunity to become educated instead of becoming child brides. So all that to look forward to, and you can always follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or any of those places in the social media world to keep up with what we're doing. But without further ado, here's this week's message from Missing Peace. It's been a while, but we used to say quite often at Missing Peace that you should never be comfortable with more than 75% of what happens here. The 25% is where you'll learn and grow. As we come up to our 3rd anniversary next month, I wonder if we haven't gotten a bit comfortable. People that were there for the first time or that don't attend with great frequency, it may not be true for them, but for me and for many of our regulars, we've sort of settled in. We see many of the same faces. We've got habits around checking Facebook and checking our texts and things to figure out where Missing Peace will be and what to bring. We've got liturgies and rituals that have become normal. Well, from the outside looking in, Missing Peace remains way outside of the box. But for some of us, it's, well, comfortable, predictable, ours. So what, you might say? What difference does it make? Why does it matter if we who have felt outside the scope of religion for so long begin to feel less so? On the one hand, that's good news. After all, our mission is to create space for diverse believers to participate in their spiritual evolution. So good. Huzzah! And I also know the stories of the outside-the-box Jewish revolutionaries, and tying it all together, all of their good deeds and doing good and being good and helping others, tying it together with a meal, shared to remember who and what and why they are. But somehow all of their good intentions and outside-the-box thinking led to Christendom, organized religion, rigidity, the very boxes they were originally way outside of. Could that also happen to us? It's only natural that individuals and organizations grow up, and as they do, certain things solidify a bit. They stop growing and changing. It's part of the circle of life. It makes us feel safer and more secure when things become predictable and more solid. However, solid also often means brittle and fragile. It's often a false security. But if we can instead remain flexible and adaptable, that's the counterintuitive yet far more reliable and secure posture. It's true for our bodies. Pliable, flexible bodies are less prone to injury. It's true for raising our children. Harsh, rigid structures don't create space for kids to discover themselves. It's true for our institutions. When they become overly hardened, they begin to crumble. It's true for our relationships. If we cling too tightly, they fall apart. And it's true for ourselves. If we aren't gracious and gentle with ourselves, we too begin to crumble and fall apart. And so I hope this and all of our Missing Peace experiences make you a little uncomfortable. I hope they stretch you a bit get you outside of your comfort zone. I hope that it makes you question who and why and what we are. I hope that it begs cosmic questions of justice and fairness, openness and inclusiveness. Not because we will come up with the solid answers or remedies, but because when we are questioning, when we are looking into the face of that which we don't fully understand, we are participating in our evolution, our continued becoming. We are creating empathy and working our compassion muscles. We are stretching ourselves in hopes of staying spiritually, mentally, and physically pliable, that we may not become complacent and rigid and stuck in who we think we are, but may continually live into the divine spark inside each of us and in each that we meet, that we might be stretched and flexible and increasingly open and inclusive, living out of and into love. In the context of our gathering on Sunday, that was about connecting with people who are different than us, who have challenges we don't have. And we heard from Dave, who is the facilities manager there at ARC, who shared with us his great passion and joy and the awakening he's had from connecting with the clients of the ARC of Volusia and realizing that they're way more the same than he expected or anticipated. So I encourage you to reach out and connect with people who are different than you, to stretch yourself, to get uncomfortable, because that's how you'll grow. That's how we all grow. I hope that sometime you will consider joining Missing Piece in the Flesh for one of these activities that we do. You can find out where we are and what we're up to through missingpiececommunity.com or on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And we hope you'll continue to tune in here on Facebook. Grace and peace, my friends. May you be stretched and uncomfortable for the good of yourselves, your community, and your world. Grace and peace.